I don't usually tell this story because it sounds small when you say it out loud. Nothing dramatic happened. No one broke in. No one got hurt. And maybe that's why it stayed with me longer than anything else. A few years ago, I was house sitting for a man I barely knew. He was in his late 40s, quiet, polite, the kind of person who explained things too carefully, like he didn't want to be misunderstood. He lived alone in a detached house just outside a small town. No neighbors close enough to see. Just trees, a long driveway, and a silence that felt permanent. I took the job because it was easy money, and I didn't want to admit to myself that I hated being alone more than I thought I did. The first couple of days were fine. I worked remotely, cooked simple meals, watched TV at night. The house was older but clean. Everything had a place. Too much of a place, actually. Every object felt intentional, lined up, centered. That's when I noticed the chair. It was one of those heavy wooden dining chairs. I had pulled it out earlier to sit while eating, and left it slightly angled when I stood up. Later that evening, when I walked back into the dining room, it was pushed fully under the table again. Perfectly aligned. I stood there longer than I needed to, not because I was scared, more because I was confused. I honestly assumed I had just moved it back without thinking. That night, I took a picture of the living room before going to bed. I didn't tell myself why I was doing it. I just did. The next morning, the picture didn't match. Nothing obvious. The couch pillows were the same. The lamp was still off. But the remote, which I had left near the edge of the coffee table, was now centered. Straightened. That was the moment I felt embarrassed. Not scared. Embarrassed. Like I was projecting something onto a normal situation. First time alone in a quiet house. Too much time to think. Over the next 2 days, it kept happening. Small things. Subtle enough that if someone asked me to explain them, I wouldn't be able to without sounding ridiculous. A mug moved closer to the sink. Shoes I left side by side now angled outward. A notebook I had closed now opened to a blank page. I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel threatened. I just felt corrected. By the 4th day, I decided I should say something. Not because I believed something was wrong, but because I needed reassurance. And I didn't want to sound paranoid. I didn't want him to think I was uncomfortable or scared. So I kept it casual, careful, polite. I texted him. "Hey, quick question. Did you stop by the house at all this week? Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything." There was a pause before he replied. "No, I haven't been back. Everything okay?" That should have settled it. And for a moment it did. I told myself I was overthinking. I was alone. Quiet does strange things to your head. That night, I took pictures of every room before going to sleep. I didn't feel nervous doing it. It felt practical, like making a checklist. In the morning, I didn't look at the photos right away. I noticed the kitchen first. The chair was facing the counter now, not pulled out. Turned, as if someone had stood there for a while. I sat down on the couch and opened my phone. The photos were almost the same. Almost. One cabinet door, slightly open now. One book rotated so the spine faced inward. Small corrections, adjustments. I stared at the screen for a long time before texting him again. I rewrote the message twice. I didn't want him to think I was implying anything. "So sorry, probably nothing. Just double-checking. No cleaners or anyone stopping by either, right?" His response came faster this time. "No, just you." I read that sentence more than once. It wasn't what he said. It was how final it sounded. That evening, I didn't take new pictures. I didn't want proof. I didn't want to turn it into something real. Before bed, I straightened everything myself. The chair, the remote, the notebook. I made everything intentionally imperfect. Slightly crooked, obviously placed by a human hand. When I woke up, the house was neat again. Not clean. Neat. Everything centered, aligned, corrected. I stood in the hallway holding my phone, trying to decide how much honesty was appropriate. I didn't want to seem dramatic. I didn't want to sound scared. I didn't want him to feel responsible for my imagination. So I sent one last text. "Hey, this might sound silly, but are you sure you didn't come by late? I think I'm just not used to being here alone." This time, he didn't reply right away. When the message finally came through, it was short. "I don't need to be there for things to move." I stared at the screen until it locked itself. A minute later, another message arrived. "Please don't rearrange anything else." I left the house that afternoon. I didn't clean. I didn't take pictures. I didn't text him again. He never asked why I left early, and I never asked what he meant. But sometimes, when I leave something slightly out of place in my own home, I get this strange urge to fix it. Not because it bothers me, but because it feels like someone else is waiting for me to notice.